Just turn them on.
Good, good.
All right. Last meeting order.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Fry,
Present.
Keating,
Present.
Snelling,
Present.
Eichmann, Gurecki,
Present.
Price,
Present.
Behrens,
Here.
Rom,
Here.
7.
Okay. First up, we have the approval of minutes from the meeting on August 14th.
Move approved minutes, the regular meeting of August 14th, 2023, as written.
Second.
Okay. Any changes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7-0. Next up, we do have a notice or a hearing on the revenue neutral rate intent, which is resolution 2023-43.
Open for public comments.
Yeah. Is anybody here for public comment on exceeding the revenue neutral rate? Okay. Nobody's here.
7:01. Getting the time. Close the hearing.
Okay, we'll close the hearing on the revenue neutral rate. Now we need a motion for the resolution.
Move to approve resolution 2023-43.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Next we have the budget hearing. Open the budget hearing. Is anybody here for comment on the budget? Okay. We'll close the budget hearing then.
Move to approve 2024 budget.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, next we have public comment. Is anybody here for 5-minute public comment? Yes. Hello.
Bernita Peaks, Ward 1. I was here 2 weeks ago about the problem of chemical drift caused by the city contractor on my property. After I was done speaking, I went to sit down, and it's very hard for anyone seated back here to hear very clearly what's going on here.
Okay.
I think it would be most helpful if you would speak into your microphones a little bit better. Anyway, I sat down after speaking, and then Parker Price sat back from his microphone, moved his chair back, and made some comment which wasn't audible out here.
Do you want me to repeat it for you so you can hear it?
No, I don't want to, because I listened to it on YouTube when
Okay.
it was very clear. This is a stunt he pulls every once in a while, moves back.
It's not a stunt I pull at
So
all.
the people who are out here cannot hear. I'm speaking.
You addressed me,
No, I did not.
said my name.
That doesn't mean you're supposed to speak. If in fact you don't want your comments heard when you're sitting up here, I think you have no business being on the city council. People make a change in their schedule to come down here to listen, and it is very difficult to hear when you're sitting out here in the audience. So I think you all need to use your microphones a little bit better. Well, as I said, the YouTube picked up the the comment from Parker Price, and I listened to it. And Parker Price, I want to advise you to check a dictionary on the word slander. That's S-L-A-N-D-E-R. The comment was something about spraying I might have done to cause the damage.
No, then you didn't hear the comment correctly. I did not say you. I said, I was told that you had somebody spray your yard. So no, you didn't hear the comment correctly.
You did say that made Vernita responsible. I did hear that.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. It was on YouTube. So let me speak. You can answer later.
Responsible.
The only spraying I've done in the yard has been with this rabbit repellent, which you use a garden hose to apply, and of course it doesn't damage the plants. In fact, it keeps them safe from the rabbits. Works pretty well. The person who does my yard work sprays with a handheld sprayer using spray that does not go up into the air, and he sprays every once in a while. There's a patch that used to have some poison ivy, and we want to take care of that so it doesn't come back. And any plants that I'm trying to get rid of, he takes care of. It doesn't bother anything else. It only reacts with what it is sprayed on. And that is what, in fact, I talked to your contractor about and said, that's what you need to be doing. You need to be only spraying the weeds that need to be eliminated. You need to be using something that doesn't go volatile and go all over my yard and damage my plants. The damage was certainly not from any spraying done on my side of the fence. And Parker Price, you are the council person for Ward 1. I didn't get a phone call when you read that information packet. I didn't get anybody asking me, is there some kind of problem I can help you resolve? And I didn't get a phone call from the second person that represents Ward 1 either. Council people are supposedly serving the community. And all of you, by the way, if you don't know what chemical drift is, need to do some educating. It's a serious problem. Of course, it's a very serious problem if you're on a farm. It's also a serious problem for anybody that makes a living doing yard work, or anybody that has a neighbor that sprays around with something that is damaging to other people's property. So, Parker, I think you're running for re-election. I hope there were a number of people listening on YouTube.
Hey, Vernita, are you leaving, or do I get to ask questions now? Yeah. I would like to ask you the question of, what does your guy use for a spray? What's the name of it?
I don't know. He takes
But you guarantee me it does not lift and drift at all.
I have a plant.
The reason I'm asking is when I had a spray license, there's not a lot of sprays that do that.
Well, I don't know what he's using, but I have a plant that stands all by itself, and he regularly sprays around it, and it sits there and blooms.
It's kind of hard to hear. Could you use the microphone?
You in the spray business, you should know about it.
I do.
Well,
And what you're talking about could be like, oh, I don't know, about 25 different chemicals. And you can't shrug your shoulders when you can't tell us, so you don't know if yours lifted or not, because you don't know what was used. That's not fair.
I don't need to know what was used. I know that it was hand sprayed, which is a big difference from driving around and spraying through the fence with something that is very volatile and visibly goes up in the air.
They all lift on hot days. That's what creates them to lift, is the heat. Water droplet size is also what helps how they get to the ground and whether they stay there better than others. along with if you use a surfactant or not.
The damage came from the city's side of the fence.
Do we have any agronomists that can come up and look at this and verify this?
I don't know, I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's ask around, see if we can. And then let's get a list from everybody that sprayed chemicals and we'll figure out what happened. That'd be a fair way to putting an end to this, wouldn't it? Yes? Would that be fair to you to put an end to this?
We'll put an end to it when I see what's going on with the property and when I learn that you have advised your contractor to use a spray that is not volatile. I shouldn't have to tell you what that is. You should be guiding your contractor.
I think it'd be best if we moved along.
Waiting on you.
Okay. Is anybody else here for 5-minute public comment? Okay. Move on to business and discussion items. First, we have the junk vehicle policy with John.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I go through kind of an outline of what the procedure is, the very last document in the packet, I just wanted to lay it out there to show you what a wrecker service or a towing company would have to go through to get a tie of their own. And it is quite burdensome, even more burdensome through the process I described in the procedure, even though the one for the city to comply with, to me, is burdensome. And so what I've tried to do is, I've laid out some examples of a notice and what goes in the paper, what's served upon the property owner, and then I laid out, attached in there, the actual state of Kansas KDOR, Kansas Department of Revenue documents that would need to be completed. So it kind of lays out what whoever's designated to carry out this procedure would need. So to begin with, it takes a finding of this council, and there are several resolutions tonight, and these tonight on these vehicles, and this would allow the city to basically assume the cost of this. Now, I did put in there some, I don't know, not necessarily self-serving, but some guidance about trying to get some idea about the storage cost and maybe getting a pound lot. Now, I have gossip that I can't verify or confirm, that there is one vehicle over a year, $18,000. Holy cow, the city can't afford that. So what it requires is if you pass these ordinances tonight, you immediately talk to the towing service, say we're gonna cover the cost. One thing I think should be apparent from this, I don't talk about a situation when there's no serial number. The statute talks about serial numbers, it's the same as a VIN, all right? It can be problematic when there's not a VIN number. But it is a step-by-step process, and it easily takes over 30 days. We even had a discussion, well, it says you gotta wait 30 days after it's disposed of. Well, I use a common meaning of dispose, means sold, got rid of. And so really, once you start the process, you start the process to sell the vehicle. And that's gonna take over 30 days. I don't think there's any way to get around that. So there's gonna be exposure of the city to pay the storage fees, the towing bill, and then each of these forms kind of have a tack-on fee. And then I put in there also the new law that comes into effect January 1st, 2014, requires a different type of certificate. I did email down to a revenue attorney that I knew, and there's been some turnover within the department. The chief counsel got appointed to the bench, and so they're trying to figure out what this form is going to look like. But there's another $20 right there. So I just wanted to, at least this sets forth a procedure to at least help out the wrecker service and get them off the streets. and dispose of them through, what I visualize or envision is that nobody's gonna bid for it. And it'll end up, city gets a title to take it to a junkyard. Now, one thing that's problematic throughout this is a nuisance vehicles, except the statute says the owner has a right to redeem, basically. Redeem right up to the day of auction. The costs escalate, there's publication costs, and this cost keeps escalating. So I try to address that by saying, well, if they come up with the money and they're able to drive it off, they got 30 days to make it ready, or maybe it's time then to issue a criminal complaint and then force the hand that way. Because you already have a finding that it's a nuisance vehicle, and they put it back on the property to keep the nuisance. You know, I hear this a lot, people want to keep these vehicles around for junk parts. You know, I don't think under the ordinance it really counts. But I know this council's thinking about doing something like that through a ordinance to allow time to do that.
Yeah, for project cars or cars that are.
So it really takes a lot of coordination to decide when to pull the trigger and when not to pull the trigger. I suppose if the car doesn't have a serial number or VIN number, the city can contact the record service. We're not interested in doing this. This is outside our scope of our policy, and go from there. But there could be some big dollars here, I think.
Could be some big expenses here too,
Right.
because by the time you pay the wrecker and 30 days worth of storage, and you file 3 or 4 of these Kansas Department of Revenue forms of paper at $20 a piece, then you have your auction, get notification in the paper for your auction,
Got to publish 2 times.
published twice.
Got 2 months.
And it's got to be certified mail. There's a cost there too. Yeah, and
So you could end up close to $500-600 per vehicle.
Yeah, what's funny about these statutes, it says certified mail, I think we talked about this before. If they personally hand-delivered, had the chief hand-delivered it doesn't count really. I think arguably it's substantial compliance, but if they go up to the treasurer, they're going to say, where's your green card? Where's the green card? They follow it to the T. They really don't care if the person had actual notice, so.
So
It could be a learning process
It has to go
too.
through the mail then.
Got to do at least try. And I can't guarantee you'll get the green card back. That's been a discussion with city attorneys, problems with certified mails. Not unique to Marysville, or it's throughout
Right.
Kansas. So, but I have no estimate of dollars at risk.
I'm just curious.
I just threw the 18,000 because good juicy gossip,
Right,
which I can't verify.
right.
I know one of the record services had 1 car for 3 years and 1 for 2, because he told me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where the gossip came. Were my
I-
figures low or high?
I don't know
All right.
what is out there, he's at a frustration point because he wants them gone. And I understand that, because they're tying up spots in his lot.
This does apply prospectively, I mean, going forward. And so, going back 3 years back, this policy would be applicable. I suppose, of course, the council has oversight. They could say, well, we'll help him out, and we'll do this much. You could always have authority to have the city administrator go forward and try to do something. But the policy right now would exclude that vehicle. And that the concern is the cost. Storage costs are just,
Anybody
Well,
have
don't
any
we-
idea what a storage cost per day is?
with the establishment of a city lot, I mean, how would that play into this?
would lower your potential cost exposure.
I mean, so would that mean, so we could get tow truck to tow it to our lot, let's say the city had a lot, tow truck would tow it to our lot, and so impound fees, we would just have to go through these procedures?
Right, same procedures.
Okay.
And then, somebody could always complain, hey, you got a junkyard, the city's maintaining a junkyard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's maybe worth the risk,
Well, I mean,
depends
we've
where the
got
location's
spaces.
at.
I'd hate to have an expense when we've got places, whether it be I don't know if we could store it at the brush dump or.
It's gotta be secure, kinda secure.
It's gotta be inside, basically inside a chain link fence with a gate on it.
Yeah, but a lot of times they're not behind a chain link fence right now necessarily.
It's also not your liability problem.
Yeah, yeah.
There's weigh the cost and the risk here. I mean, it's a junk vehicle.
Most of these vehicles aren't worth much. I mean,
That's the problem. I don't know what you get for a vehicle if you took it over to Smitty's to, or wherever to
to crush it a few
get
$100
it
bucks.
crushed, you know, just to
Maybe
get
more
it
if
out
it's
of your-
got good tires on it or something. Rims. Yeah. Yeah, you might kick in a little extra if it's got good tires and rims, otherwise it's not worth much.
Depends on how much it weighs.
Stack up in yards.
Yeah, well, I mean, we gotta do something, otherwise we're just gonna say, well, you can just have whatever you want in your yard and we won't do anything.
Oh, yeah, because there's numerous of them
Yeah,
sitting
I mean,
around
we gotta do
Marysville.
something.
I suppose if you want to try it out, and the cost per odor, you can always rescind your policy to the chagrin of maybe the wrecker services.
I'm up for trying it out.
Is this something that we should, maybe the ad hoc committee that is going to try to meet?
Well, the reason why we moved it on here is we've got a bunch of junk vehicles.
I see
And
that.
we thought we would try and get a policy in place before we acted on them. So if we don't act on the policy, then you might wanna kick the vehicles, down the road or something.
And this,
Until you
this
finalize the
policy
policy.
mirrors the state statute, right?
Right, it's right out of state statute. Then you pull your forms out and make sure you comply with the form that they're gonna administer. The treasurer's gonna look at the form, they'll check it off. Okay, do you do a notice of publication? Check. You got a green card? Check. You verified the ownership record? Check.
So what happens if you don't have the green card?
Well, I designed it so it's, there's a certificate of service on there. Why wouldn't they accept the certificate of service? And then I think I also suggest go ahead and try to personally serve it. So you go to the treasurer and maybe we'll lobby KDOR, say, look, we personally served him. I mean, actual notice is better than a green card because who knows who signs it?
Right.
Oftentimes you can't read the writing.
Right.
So
Or they refuse it,
refuse it.
yeah.
The statute doesn't talk about refusal. But generally, the law is if it's refused, it's assumed granted or served. We can follow it with regular mail. The law is if it's not returned, it's presumed to be delivered. But the treasurer is not concerned about these nuances. They want to check it off.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. They don't want to get involved in discretion or thinking about it. You know, if we could reach out to KDOR and say, look, what's the difference between a green card and actual? If they ever have it in their hand, how much, isn't that better? I think it is. But in this listserv of city attorneys, we talked about that. And the bottom argument, excuse me, is that there's substantial compliance, even though the statute says certified mail. So if you pass it tonight and you pass the resolutions, they're gonna immediately reach out to the towing service and say, hey, we got your back on this, we're gonna try it out, see how much it costs. And it gives them time to negotiate the storage. If they know it's gonna be removed, they may say, well, we'll only charge $5 a day, because they know it's gonna be gone. They could set their fees high, try to give the owner incentive to come get the vehicle. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but for this type of vehicle, I'm not sure anybody will be racing down there because if you redeem it, well, I use the word redeem, they either gotta fix it up or it's gonna be towed again.
Well, some of these are, they haven't renewed their license plate, right? So it could be that. I saw one, up north and, that I think it just needed a new tag. So,
I think,
I think the motor didn't work either.
well, you don't know that from the outside.
No, the lady told me.
Yeah.
when Mr. Richards was here, I think he had a vehicle where it would have been tagged and didn't have any wheels, it's used for storage.
Alrighty then.
A bus.
I guess it doesn't run.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like a bus.
Mr. Mayor, with all the stuff we've been doing to try to clean the city of Marysville up, I move that we proceed with this procedure for auction to disposal of vehicles and get this ordinance turned into an ordinance.
Policy.
Policy,
Excuse me,
yeah.
policy.
Okay, have a second.
I'll second it. I'll send it to vote.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I understand we have this on, all these cars on the agenda tonight, but I still would have liked to have seen this got kicked to the committee since we haven't had a chance to meet.
To be honest, you still have the discretion to kick out, like,
You could kick out certain ones. I
Certain
mean, if there's
ones.
ones that you're looking at going, yeah, it's a classic car, I mean, you
Still
could,
delay 'em.
you
Yes,
could delay it,
that.
yeah.
if it's,
Classics in the eye of the beholder.
if it's, if it's obvious, like a hobby build, something like that, you guys have the discretion to enforce.
Duly noted.
Yep.
And we should have, either, well, whoever the city administrator may be, and the person designated to come back in 60 days. Hopefully we have some results and some cost figures.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we move on to,
Yes.
Yes, 7-0.
it was, ordinance 1921, the standard traffic ordinance for 2023.
Move to approve ordinance 1921 standard traffic ordinance.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Snellings,
Yes.
Gurecki,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barron's,
Yes,
Crum,
Yes.
7-0.
Okay, we'll move on to ordinance 1922, the Uniform Offense Code for 2023.
Move to approve ordinance 1922 Uniform Offense Code for 2023.
second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Snellings,
Yes.
Gurecki,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barron's,
Yes,
Crum,
Yes.
7-0.
Okay. And next we have the Marysville High School Homecoming Parade request for September 15th. Was anybody here from?
There isn't anybody
here.
gonna come. They
Okay.
didn't have anybody that could come.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
Okay.
Next, we have the United Bank Homecoming tailgating request for Friday the same night, September 15th.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
Okay.
We have the alley closure at 503 North 14th on September 30th.
Move to approve the alley closure.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
Okay.
The Hendricks Street closure at the UP Depot on September 8th.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
7-0.
7-0. Then we have the Landell 60th anniversary celebration. Now is Wayne, are you
Yes,
coming up
here.
here for that, Wayne?
I sure can.
Good evening, Wayne Cruzy, representing the Marshall County Arts Cooperative. Our friends at Landall Company reached out to us since we partner with them on so many events. And since they're going to be so busy working the concerts in the stadium, they said, could you help us with what might be going on at the park? And so their vision for what happens in the park is to set a fun atmosphere before the concert. And so we've reached out to our local high school bands, the cheerleading and dance team, to have like a tailgate atmosphere in the park. And then we all go to the stadium at 7, and then afterwards there would still be a band playing afterwards. So Matt and I met at the park this morning, and we're thinking the food trucks would be in that Simmons Auditorium area, parked kind of up there. And then since we'll have some live music and cheerleaders and dancers, we would snow fence around the bandstand, that whole area, and do the beer garden there, but put up a fence so that it's really clear where you can have a beer, and then you can't take that to the school. I mean, you know,
Across the road.
when you're just in the when you're in the park, it's one thing. So in an ideal world, the park would be closed that night. I believe the plan is to have handicap parking. They would like that to be at the swimming pool parking lot, and then they would shuttle people back and forth there. From there.
Would the bathrooms be inside the fence, or are you gonna bring in portable bathrooms?
The bathrooms wouldn't need to be inside the
Well, I
fence.
was just thinking of beer garden, gonna be high demand for a bathroom.
Well, I think you're thinking of an event that I mean, in our, I hear what you're saying, but I'm thinking like from 5 to 7, you're probably having a beer, you're gonna run across, and then you might go home or you might
just
hop over.
thinking people
I
might
mean, that's how
rotate
I think, Todd. This might say more about you and your question. We can sure take that into advisement, Todd, because we will be ordering some outdoor toilets. And we could certainly put some within the snow fence. Please, I hope our city clerk caught that for the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
To approve the request for Landell's 60th anniversary celebration,
Second.
October 12th.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
You need an alcohol one?
No, because we're not closing a street.
Okay,
It's on city property like the Art Center.
Okay.
just making sure.
All right, next we have the Kester House Museum Heat with Sharon. Hello.
Okay, I'm Sharon Kessinger, and I am in Ward 4, and I represent the Kester House Museum Foundation, and I thought I represented the Kester House Museum Advisory Board, but I was told that I don't anymore. Can I ask you, I see it down at the bottom that we asked that you appoint 2 people to that board, that advisory board. And then they said that at the city clerk's office that Ralph Milan and I have, been on there a long time, and they used to send us a notice when our term ended, and then they would say, would you like to be reappointed? And we'd say yes, and we'd be back on. And that hasn't been done, so we would like to be reappointed if that's okay. And Karen Hughes as well, she was on, and apparently, I think it's her term that ended a year ago or something, and she wasn't notified either. And then Michelle Whitesell and Rachel Fry are members whose terms had expired, but they both said, well, we haven't heard anything. So they said they would serve again if you would appoint them. So if you don't mind, would you appoint all of us back and appoint the new ones then?
I have to see how many serve on the committee. Can you tell me? I'd have to look that up. I don't know how many usually serve on that board.
I think Deb told me the other day that it's 9 people, and 2 can be from outside the city limits, but 7 have to be in the city limits.
If she looked up
Could probably look at that and bring it back to the next
yeah, I was
council
gonna say, she looked it up. Sorry, I did not.
Well, that's what I was told anyway.
sure she
We'd
did.
like to have a full board, and we'd like to be more active. And in the past, we used to be asked to discuss issues and bring them to the council, but we've gotten no correspondence on any of that. And we would really like to be active, and we'd like to be all legitimately appointed. So anyway, that's outside of what I came to talk about was the heat in the museum. And the reason we really need heat on the second floor of the museum, we have heat on the ground floor now. And the reason we need heat upstairs is that we have several ceilings that have fallen, and we have a contractor already, and actually he came and covered the floor and he's all ready to go, but he will not do any plaster until we have heat up there. And I don't know if you remember, what happened was when you fixed the radiators and the pipes, the pipes going to the upstairs were still leaking. So they just capped them off. So there's no heat up there. And which might be okay part of the time, but if you had, below temperature, below 0 temperatures for a day, several days, or as we did before, or anything in the winter, you wouldn't have enough heat. And the plaster, the man who's going to plaster, and he's done that for years, and he's done more for us, and he says it would be crazy to do it because if you leave a building unheated, which we did for 2 or 3 years, it's gonna crack and break again, and more ceilings will fall, and it's just adds to the deterioration. And we're trying not to deteriorate the building, we're trying to fix it and make it usable. So I don't know, when I talked to you about this months ago, I was told that it was a priority to get heat in there. And I just wondered if I could get a commitment from you on that it will be fixed before we have freezing weather again. And so we can go ahead with projects like that, plus events that we'd like to have in there in the winter, and just make the building viable. And can you give me some kind of an idea, because then we could talk to the contractor and we could get those projects going.
I mean, the contractor got all the heaters working on the main floor, and I think it was his opinion when all the pipes were broken for that second floor to cap them and see. I mean, heat rises, so it should stay pretty warm up there. I mean, a lot of houses, you'd be surprised how many houses don't have heat for the second floor, old houses. They just radiate it up. I think there is one radiator that does work clear to the south above the kitchen. I think that one is, if I remember right, that one is hooked up. The other ones, in order to get the plumbing back to it, they're going to have to cut out part of the ceiling and across to the other side in the other rooms and stuff. Because they go up in there and then they 90 and 90 and then hit those radiators. They don't just go straight up to the radiators. They go up right next to each other, and then they go up in 90 and 90 and come out and catch each end of the radiators. So there's going to be holes in the ceilings that they're going to have to tear out.
Probably holes in the walls too to come up through.
The pipes, as I remember them, I think they ran outside the walls, I think. I know that one set did it, they were capped. I'm thinking the other ones were like that too, but I can't remember 100% they were all like that. The ones in the kitchen, I know that they all are outside of the wall.
Okay.
And 90 and 90 and pop up through the ceiling.
But in the ceiling, don't they run in the ceiling?
They run up inside the ceiling,
Yeah.
yeah. The 90s are up in the ceiling, so the ceiling will have to have holes cut in it to run those. The other advantage to not having the heat up there is you don't have any pipes running above there to worry about breaking or leaking to leak down on the library or any of the other things in that building. I mean, if you've got live pipes up above there, if something does spring a leak, then you're gonna ruin whatever's underneath it, and that would be,
What about that holding tank up in that one room?
for the boiler, I can't remember what he,
I don't think that even,
yeah.
that could be just by, that doesn't have anything to do with anything, does it?
That
It's
one,
just-
because it's an old system. I can't remember if he had if that was still live yet. I remember him talking about it, and he wasn't sure if it was live or not live. But I can't remember if it was or not. without asking.
Will, do you have any more information on this?
Well, oh,
Hey, Sharon.
hi.
That holding tank upstairs has been disconnected, and they put a ladder in the basement to give the expansion for it. The one room where you're talking about the ceilings down is the room that we have heat in already.
Okay.
So, it does go up into the floor, it tees and goes each direction, and outside on the walls, like you were talking.
So, question for you.
Yep.
The two radiators that are upstairs,
Mhm.
have they been checked?
The ones that, the one we have
Two that
working,
are upstairs, have they been checked? So
They're
if we do spend money and do run the water lines up there and replace them, they're not gonna turn out cracked on
They
the
were
bottom?
replaced.
they're the ones that were replaced. Some of those
Okay,
that were
just
replaced
making
also,
sure.
yes.
So there's no new radiators needed, just lines?
Just lines need to be done, and it's gonna be ceiling on, both sides of the wall, so you're gonna have a ceiling in every room that's gonna have to be tore down to be patched.
And that's the first floor ceiling below each room would have to be torn down?
Correct.
Correct, okay.
We did have Katrina Ringler, the state restoration officer here, and she was here to talk about that historic district, and she met with us, and she said, well, an alternative would be using, I think they call them mini splits, and that the Historical Society allows that, and they're used widely in museums and public buildings as well as private buildings. And she recommended that we get an HVAC, is that right? HVAC person. And so our foundation has contacted a firm in Manhattan. It's an engineering firm. And we're willing to pay to have that study done or that kind of advice if you would like us to. Before we move ahead, in case they say, well, going to an
It's probably a
alternative.
good idea if we're looking at changing how it's heated or cooled, to have a study done.
And to me, that's a lot less expensive if we can put mini splits in there than to have the ceilings tore up and have all that.
The mini splits aren't gonna be cheap either, I'm telling. I
Well,
mean, you have to run line sets to every one of those. So it's not like it's just, I mean, everybody always just sees the part on the wall, but you have to have power and a drain and line sets just like you do to anything. You don't have duct work, but you've got
Right.
everything that you have to run to your air conditioner in your basement, your evaporator coil has to be ran to each one of those.
And
So-
they could come up with a different recommendation, or maybe multi-level recommendation to, if we're crunched on money, which is where that fund is at.
But as far as doing that, I don't imagine by the time they do that, there will be time before winter to tackle most things, correct?
Well, that would depend on what you're willing, whether you're willing to do it,
We don't have money in the budget for it, I mean, is the thing. And
But
I know
it's
we've talked about it, and at some point, we need to have a discussion about that entire Kester block, because, I mean, we were bleeding money on that Kester block and not getting enough revenue in to even break, I mean, even remotely even on it.
Right.
And
I
we
wanted to ask
keep
you,
discussing it,
do
but-
you have, there used to be a Kester block board, and they were
There
appointed.
still is.
And they, when someone would go out of a building, like the restaurant, say, they would try to get a new person in. Are there any efforts underway to get renters in those places?
We've had
Because-
some, we've had some efforts, yes.
But how much? I mean, is anybody actively going, say, to K-State and Nebraska University schools of culinary arts, and seeing if there's anybody that knows of anybody? Are you trying to get somebody? Because if
We've had
you
people
could,
looking at it, but it's nothing hooked on.
yeah, I mean, you could turn those back into revenue producing buildings, the apartment and the restaurant, if you would.
We've had a hard time breaking even on the apartment, because you get somebody in there and they tear it up more than you get in rent.
Even with the $750, let's say $1,300 a month we would get if they were occupied, we'd still be $4,000 short on just reflections.
You know that for a fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's not including that it needs another
And that would
air
be,
conditioning system.
and
That's-
how much a month are you gonna charge for rent?
See, that's what we did. We had a meeting with that board, and they raised the rates.
So what is the rent on the restaurant?
$750,
Yeah, and then the apartment?
$550.
So you're just not gonna try to get any revenue coming in from there?
No, we're trying.
Trying to
We're
find somebody to
trying.
go in there.
But it's, even with that revenue, that fund is not gonna, it's not gonna support the renovations on a museum. It's where we're at.
Well, our foundation has spent over $200,000 renovating that museum. And that's money brought into this community and given by the community who support it. And, you know, I really can't believe that, you're talking about, you're not gonna restore the museum? It's been restored.
No, I'm telling you where that fund is at. That's the only thing I said.
But you did just say that.
I'm saying it won't, I said it wouldn't support,
Restoring the museum, that's what you
renovations at the
said.
museum.
And, you know, I think you like to give people the idea that was city money that restored that. I can show you the figures on the amount of money we have raised and put into that building and the grounds. And, you know, it doesn't seem to make you know, you still think it needs to be restored. We
No,
just want,
that's-
and, you know, 10 years ago, in the Historic Structures Report, they recommended getting a new boiler for the museum. And nobody, I mean, you haven't done anything about that, and maybe we wouldn't be in this mess today if we'd have done that 10 years ago.
Look, I'll just say up front, and I mean, I install new stuff and I put in new stuff. Old stuff breaks down a lot less than the new stuff does. I'm just telling you, it's not as efficient, but there's not a lot of stuff to break on the old stuff. So I wouldn't say that just because you put in a new unit 10 years ago, it would have not broken down, because it does. I mean, but typically, the problem with that is nobody's there. I mean, we've got monitoring now, but the issue with that was nobody was checking daily to see what the temp was in there. If it had been a house, somebody would have called immediately and said, man, it's 50 degrees in here. But that one got to like -20 and everything froze and broke before anybody realized that the heat wasn't on.
Yeah, and that was not
the issue.
just daily, that was like 5 days before you even knew.
I don't know, it went for a few days. I mean,
Yeah.
it had to have to get
I
that
mean,
cold and freeze and break
So what kind of
everything.
monitoring is that?
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like anybody on the Kester Advisory Board couldn't have gone down. I mean, there are a lot of people that could have gone and checked, and obviously nobody was. So I wouldn't lay all the blame on the city. I mean, it was cold that week and everybody knew it, and anybody could have gone down there and checked, and nobody did until it was a catastrophic failure, which
Well, maybe
has cost
that
a lot of money, but
It
in
would be
time.
good to meet with the Kester Advisory Board and say, would you do this? But, I mean, because that never was a function of the Kester House Museum Advisory Board. And I think there was a time when Hanover Electric came in every spring and every fall to check the heating and all of that kind of stuff.
And that is
And
good, but I mean, if you're
they
not
don't-
having somebody every day check, I mean, you could check that boiler out and say it's working great, and then 5 minutes after you walk away, something could burn, a relay could burn out, a transformer could, I mean, it can
But-
happen, same as the vehicle.
But if you checked it every day, or even every other day, it's not like walking away. I mean, it's not going to freeze like that if you don't leave it for 5 days. So, you know, if you just don't ever go there. And that's like, but, you know, I think that, I mean, does the city not have, I've asked repeatedly if you have a maintenance schedule, and I don't ever get an answer for that. Because to me, a maintenance schedule would say, in the winter, when there's no one there, and it's not open, that someone will check it routinely. And especially in times of extreme cold. So, anyway, any commitment at all to do anything about this? I mean, we really would like to spend more money, you know, restoring what happened 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. But we can't tell our contractor when to come. We can't make any plans for this kind of work.
Well, didn't Will just say that the room that he needs to work in has heat?
Yes.
Yeah, he did say that, but I never was aware of that. I mean.
So there's really no reason for him not to be able to do it if that room has heat.
He won't do it if you don't have heat on the second floor. I mean, not just that room, because that room is not shut off, it's part of an overall.
Yeah, but it's radiant heat, which is a little bit different than, I mean, if you have a radiator in that room, it's radiating that heat out, and that room is gonna be warm. I mean, it's.
Well, it would be nice if you would tell us that there's heat in that room, because we're not aware of it.
I mean, would the council want the foundation to do that study and
Yes.
follow,
I think
I
that's
would
the
say-
next
follow through with
thing,
that?
yeah.
I would like to see that, but I would also like to see, do we have a contractor that can at least give us a bid on what it's gonna cost to replace the water lines?
I mean,
Let's
the
at least find out a
boiler
cost
lines?
price. Yeah, the boiler lines, steam lines. Let's at least get a price tag.
okay.
Well, if all of a sudden the mini splits come back to be cheaper, I don't know if you're gonna get either one done before.
I wonder, you're starting to get tight on timeline.
You gotta
Well-
find somebody that's gonna work on it first.
Right.
Well, if there was even any effort to do it, I mean, just a little glimmer of hope, it would, you know, I mean, you can say priority over and over, and it doesn't, it's meaningless unless.
Well, but Sharon, the fair part of that too is if the contractor doesn't show up and you hired him, you're still mad at us. Even though it's the
Is that what happened?
No, but I mean, we've had contractors that don't show up and people are mad at us, and we can't control them. We can hire them, we can ask them to come work, but when they don't show up, we can't go force them and throw them into the building and tell them to work either. Now, if I remember right, the whole boiler issue started with somebody turning off the wrong light switch.
No, I mean, nobody turned that off.
That's the reason I'm asking is because that's what I was told.
I've heard that rumor too.
Okay,
But
and
there wasn't even anybody there to do that unless it was a city worker checking. And there's a sign right on that door, I think, that says, "Do not turn this light off." Or
was
because
there before, or when did the
No,
sign get put?
No, it
the
was
sign's
there.
always been there.
Yeah.
But believe me, there's nobody going in there in the winter and turning off the heat, and That's a baseless rumor.
Okay, no, somebody could have turned it off not knowing what the switch was.
There's nobody there.
Well, I think right now where we stand is we're gonna move forward with, at least get a study done, get the quote on the contractor for the
And
replacement.
let's get a timeline of when he could be there.
Yep.
Let's get a timeline that they can stick to. I don't even know who you're gonna find
You talking about for mini splits or something?
Well-
No, for the
For
pipes.
the water lines?
Okay, do I have your okay to go ahead and get this engineering study done?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the foundation was
They're-
paying for
They're
it?
paying for it, right? The foundation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that a done?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Okay, all right. Thank you. I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have, delegates for LKM.
Yeah.
So far, you wanna
I'm
talk about?
going, you're going, right,
I'm
Colleen?
sorry.
Are you going?
I'm gonna nominate you guys.
Okay, now, I haven't
Kevin's going.
signed you up yet, you didn't tell me. Right now, you're telling me?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Okay.
I had to find out from my wife, make sure.
Okay, because you don't have a room yet.
fine.
Okay. You can stay with what you
Seat of the car it is.
Okay, so we need 2 delegates and a, alternate. So,
Who wants to be the?
and I was gonna say, the mayor and Colleen and Kevin are now going, so those are your 3 choices. But I have to send it
I
in.
guess who wants to be the
I was
alternate?
gonna say, who wants to volunteer? Colleen?
So those two as the, and then Kevin as the alternate? Is that what that looks like?
I don't care. Are you gonna vote and I'll be the alternate?
I make a motion to nominate the mayor, Kevin Throm and Colleen Barons as our delegates to the Kansas League of Municipalities annual meeting.
Second.
Second.
Second, there
All-
it is.
Yeah, Lori.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Then we have the health insurance for the city employees.
All right. Earlier this month, we were informed that the city of Marysville would no longer be able to be on the current health insurance plan provided by Blue Cross and Blue Shield. The main reason for this change is that in 2022, we did not have enough staff hours to qualify for the larger group plan. The city is being moved down to a small group plan until we can again attain the 51 full-time employee hours equivalent. So what this means is the price of health insurance is going to go up for the next year for about $40,000 across the city. That includes general fund employees, water sewer employees, and the library is included in that. So they would pay their portion of it. Included are plan options that staff reviewed for next year. The recommendation from staff is to go with the 1500/25 gold plan, which has a max out-of-pocket of $4,950 and a co-insurance of 20%. We did try to get a quote from KMIT, which they came out with a new health insurance pool a couple of years ago. But they determined we were too high of a risk, according to their metrics. Our health insurance plan goes from October to September, so Blue Cross and Blue Shield is expecting an answer by September 1. I won't speak on our feelings on how they told us about this. The plans are, we included the gold plans, but there are platinum plans that were quite a bit more expensive that you can see on page 35. The monthly premiums of each plan, the top 2 are platinum and the bottom 3 are gold. Staff like the middle gold tier. As you can see, the estimated monthly premium is $41,363.01. And that max out-of-pocket was what drew their attention to everything. And you can see on page 38, that plan sheet from Blue Cross and Blue Shield, what all it covers. And then page 39 is the breakdown. So the difference between a large group plan and a small group plan is the large group plan comes pre-averaged out. So they assign us a number for every employee as far as price, and that's just the way it is. Small group plan comes and they take your metrics, the age, and go, this is how much they're supposed to be paying, this is how much they're supposed to be paying. The recommendation is we're averaging that number across the board. So it's basically what's being done before it gets here, when it gets here. So that's the difference in order to keep it simple for all to see.
And which one did they choose? The 1,525 gold?
Yes.
Yep.
With the 4,950 max out of pocket?
Yes.
It's a higher deductible, but if somebody has a crisis, it helps them not be, if you have a baby, you're gonna double that, you know, and yes,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Because it does double for family, that's for a single person.
It's only $7,000 for a year. Oh, that's a monthly premium. Okay, forget it. That's $7,000 a month.
It looks like mostly overall it's $30 a paycheck, $60 a month more out of each person's paycheck. Is how it'll affect the employees. The dental
With family.
Yeah, or spouse or children.
Well,
all
with
the way,
family, yeah.
The dental is still on there just because that's what it is. We can still hold the old dental plan, so it didn't change. But, I mean, it went up 3% or whatever, but, and this went up more than 3%, and of course it's less. The plan is worse than, not as nice as the other plan.
Well, the plan we had was kind of grandfathered.
It was
a nice plan.
grandfathered
It was
in, and it's one that they
grandfathered in.
don't even offer to their employees.
They were looking to kick us off.
Yeah, they were looking to, get
So
rid of
you
that plan.
can't, next year, you cannot.
We won't
go
be
back
able to
You
buy
have
it
to
again.
select
Not
an
buy that
existing,
plan.
yeah.
Once you're out, you're out.
How
which-
close were we to having that 51?
One
One employee.
Yeah, not quite.
old
yeah.
rep would have helped us, told me, and we'd have figured it out, but not the new one.
So do we know why we're high risk according to KMIT's metrics? Just because it stinks to not have a point
Well,
of
they gave us
comparison.
like 28, what did it say, 28% risk or something like
Yeah,
that?
I honestly, we can't see those numbers, so I could not
They
tell
don't
you.
give you all the
Oh,
actuarial
no.
tables
Oh,
or whatever?
No. So we don't know. They, like a lot of families, we have a lot of singles, doesn't help us, which you'd think would be the opposite. Because somebody else that I talked to said, single males is the very best, get the best rates. And that's
They
what
don't
we
go
have
to the doctor.
primarily single males, but.
So I'm gonna show my ignorance here. So we don't, if you're a single individual, an employee of the city, they pay
100%.
nothing out of pocket.
100%, yeah.
Okay.
By policy.
Yeah.
Hospital's the same way, or at least it was when I was working. They
Used to
paid
be.
all of a single, and you paid the additional for the family.
Which is how we do the dental.
Yeah.
And the city does 85% of families or with spouse or with child, that's what they do. I was surprised, they did a listserv, and there's a lot of cities that pay for 100% for families. I was shocked.
Well, generally, I think a lot of people go into public service for the benefits.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
I was just like, what? But I thought we were doing pretty good at 85.
Any questions on the health insurance plan?
It is what it is.
The employees know about
Can't
it.
change it.
Yeah, and that was the idea. I wanted to make sure they knew where we were going and get their feedback. I mean, there was one concern which we alleviated, cause it was kinda unclear. It says you can go to the doctor 5 times, and pay, how much, $25?
Yeah, I think. the
25
copay
bucks
was
for,
25.
copay for 25 bucks for 5 times. And it doesn't say like, it doesn't say overall, like for the family or each, but it came back 5 each person. Can
Because
go
in
to
a
the
family,
doctor.
5 times wouldn't be many if you had 3, 4 kids.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So. And I think the positive, I think our last plan didn't have like a wellness visit, but this one does.
Maybe because the last plan was 50% of
Yeah.
whatever your bill
So I
was.
think the wellness visit is covered.
So on the last plan, it was 50% co-insurance?
50% up to $1,500.
Yeah. If
There was no deductible.
in a family, you hit, I mean, well, it's per person, so, 1,500, so up to $3,000 total.
And it was cheaper than this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Just curiosity, can you combine with any other group, like, I don't know, another city or another
That's what
county
KMIC
or
is.
another?
That's-
But I mean, if you can't get into KMIC, is there anything to prevent you from going out and doing your own, other than probably a lot of insurance regulations?
that's a good question.
I don't know. I think by now I would have seen that out there.
That's what I
If
wondered.
it's possible.
Somebody would already be doing it.
Somebody would already be doing it. Some of the large cities are
Insurance.
insured
Sure.
with HSAs and a bunch of that stuff, but that takes, that I don't,
It's a headache.
You'd have
That's
to have
Landell-sized things.
You'd have to have somebody just managing that,
Oh,
pretty much.
and more than one person. It takes
Yeah.
an actuary and a few more things.
My only comment is, it's a very generous insurance plan, regardless of which direction we go, so.
I need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the city's choices of insurance plans for the next year.
The 1,525.
1,500,
25.
25.
Okay,
Second.
all right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7-0. Next up, we will move on to hearings. First, we have Resolution 2023-44 at 510 Oak. A lot of miscellaneous items in the yard.
Cleaned it up.
He has. He's made progress down there. He still has tires. They're stacked up by there. Most of the things he has outside now are parts for vehicles that he's putting together in the shop. He did say that the battery's still out there, some buckets and stuff like that. It's totally
So
whatever
he
you
moved
guys.
it all this afternoon and
Did
stuff.
he?
He's cleaned it up, so.
Okay. So,
So how much of it did you say is cleaned up?
there was quite a bit of it. The pallet was gone. Most of the parts that were sitting on the tires, I don't see them down there anymore.
He's 70% of what's in here is gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So by
Well,
the
if we
8th, you ought
pass
to
it,
be
he
able to
still
get
gets
done.
another
Yeah.
10 days,
Yeah.
so, okay. All right, somebody want to make a motion?
Make a motion on resolution 2023-44.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7-0. We have resolution 2023-45, which is a orange Volkswagen Bug at 401 Walnut.
Alright, I went by there today, and that one is setting exactly like it is in the pictures here. There was no change on that at all. There's no tag for me to run, so I can't tell you if it's legally tagged on it.
And no back wheels.
No back wheels. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's on blocks.
Move to approve resolution 2023-45.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah, that's very easily one of them that can fall
That's
underneath
what I
something.
was
I was gonna say, this looks like a classic.
Let's-
I've worked on those bugs, they were probably trying to get the engine
Bugs
out.
are
That's the way-
debatable as a classic.
Oh, come on.
They're, kinda.
Because it's a super bug, if it were older,
Yeah,
you'd
if
think.
it was a
oh.
super, I don't think that's a super
It's not
bug.
a super.
Oh, it's a later bug with the tail light.
Yeah, but it also looks like it's in fairly decent shape.
Yeah, it's not rotted out.
Yeah, it doesn't
Looking.
look all beat up.
So is this one we wanna have towed?
No, this is one that
That's-
you wanna kick to the ad hoc committee.
Oh,
Yeah.
The person that owns it doesn't live here.
oh,
They don't live here?
Nope.
Where do they live?
I don't know, Randolph or somewhere else.
How long has it been there?
She does. He lives in town.
Yeah, it's not his.
Oh, it's hers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we assume, how would you know? You didn't run the
Because I
tags.
asked him.
Well, then
He
you-
came in here to talk to us about it and said, I don't own this. I told her she needs to move it. It needs to go. And she hasn't moved
Okay.
How long has it been there? I mean,
Years.
years, or,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, how
I mean, if
do
you
feel
pass a
about it?
resolution, then they'll figure out somewhere to go with it if they wanna keep it, I guess.
Grass isn't tall around it at least.
No, but if that's what I
That's-
mean,
that
though, if
looks like
he's
they've been
keeping it
weeding
up
around
and
it.
he wants it gone, I will do that to help him out, I understand that.
Well, that's what he
Are
said.
you making a motion?
I already got a motion.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right, we did. Okay.
Did you get a second on it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then all you need is to vote on it.
Any further discussion then? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 7-0. Next one is Resolution 2023-46 at 1206 Jenkins, which is a black Pontiac. That's a
Okay.
Trans Am.
They took this vehicle, it was up against the fence with the back end facing, they turned it around and put the back end where you can't see the tag. I went ahead and just ran that tag again, and it's still expired, so it's, still needs to be taken care of.
You think they drove that?
I don't know how they moved it for sure.
Move to approve resolution 2023-46.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Next, we have Resolution 2023-47, which is a red Pontiac. That probably is, yeah, that is a Trans Am or Firebird.
So this one, he's still
Black,
got
whatever
up
you
on
would call
blocks, the axle is sitting on the ground there. It hasn't moved in quite a while.
No.
I didn't run the tag on this one because it's on blocks, and that's considered nuisance if it's on blocks, so.
I think that's the same one that we've had a neighbor complain about trash in the vehicles and
Yes,
things like
it
that.
is, same property.
make a motion to approve resolution 2023-47.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Next, we have Resolution 2023-48, which is a white Ford pickup at that same address.
This one, he got patched together and got it out of the Bite Me Barbecue parking
so it
lot
was sitting there
and
for
got
a
it up
month
to
or
here
two.
to get it to where he could work on it. It's been sitting like that for over a month.
Is it blocking the sidewalk, or does it just look like it's blocking?
It's right on the edge, like maybe this much of the bumper sticking over the sidewalk. It's really close.
Sure, that would technically be obstructing.
Be another obstruction, yes.
Among other things.
That one got hit, I think, in that ice, one of those ice storms back. Well, that's when it got hit originally,
Yeah.
and then it was at Bite Me for a long time after that, January, whenever that one storm was, or February. Oh, it's been longer than that. It was a Bite Me for probably a couple months, and it's been, I'm assuming here, yeah. So,
Move to approve resolution 2023-48.
Second.
right.
How
Any
far
further-
apart are the pictures on this one?
Oh, what?
You
How
mean,
far
we,
apart are the pictures? Well, one picture has
Because
the
in
date,
this
the
last
rest of
picture,
them
it
don't.
looks like it's got wheels on it and
That's the reason I'm asking.
it's ready to
well, the
go.
first
So-
time it was on,
It was back on the block today.
oh,
So when he had the picture taken there, it wasn't.
A week later.
He'd put the tire on and let it down, but it was back on the block today.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but it does have expired tags also.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Next we have resolution 2023-49, which is a Chrysler van at 407 North 12th.
Okay, this one's sitting in the alley, right on the very end. That's a dead-end alley. Expired tags on it. The weeds are growing up around it.
Move to approve resolution 2023-49.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7-0. Then we have resolution 2023-50, which is a white Dodge pickup at 407 North 12th.
Same property, just sitting in the driveway there. It's, still don't have a tag on it, but he did clean up the trash out of the back of it. Everything that was around it has been cleaned up, but he did not do anything with the vehicle itself.
That one doesn't look, hard to tell, it doesn't look like all that bad of a vehicle, but.
No, the only thing on it, the back window's knocked out.
in that top light.
So the tail
And the
light.
taillight. And the Kennedyne
Oh,
before.
there's a
you
taillight. I
on
didn't see the
my
taillight there,
side.
sorry.
Move to approve resolution 2023-50.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Next, we have resolution 2023-51, which is a blue Buick Regal at 706 North 11th.
That one is now legally tagged, so, and it looked like it had been driven, so.
Okay. All right. Skip that one, I guess. if it's-
That was the
Yeah,
only
yep.
issue, was it wasn't legally tagged?
Yeah, it just wasn't legally tagged, so,
Abated.
All right.
yep.
Next, we have resolution 2023-52, which is Red International Scout at 1007 Oak.
Okay, this one has been moved and put inside the garage and the doors are shut on it, so.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Got two of them.
yay.
All right, thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Will.
We will move on to the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. Discussion about the item on there. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 6-0.
Oh,
Keating
Keating.
stepped out for a second.
like, wait a minute.
Next, we have appropriations ordinance number 3804.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance number 3804 in the amount of $254,665.23.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating, Snelling,
Yes.
Guaraki,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barron's,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
6-0.
Okay. Next, we have staff reports.
Matt's up.
Matt's up.
Hey, good evening.
Matt? Hello.
Appreciate your time this evening. I have two fine gentlemen here with me this evening. As always, the reason they're here is because we believe promoting within, and so I want them to have the experience in case I'm ever not here or they need to fill into this role. We are here today, we met in January to purchase a vehicle for this year. One of the questions that I had posed in January was whether the council would consider pre-ordering a vehicle in September of this year due to availability and some of the issues that they've had statewide. It's now almost September, so I'm back here following up on that same request. On the 11th of August, we received an email from the Kansas Association's Chief of Police, and they did kind of a semi-statewide audit and said what vehicles are available, what vehicles are not available. The National Board told them that they still have unbuilt 2023s that they're going to cancel and build as 2024s. They will not offer any 2024s, and they're getting ready to start accepting orders for 2025 at the beginning of the year. That's how far behind Ford is. Dodge has vehicles available, and that's what we actually bid. The Chevy Tahoe Pursuit, which is another SUV by a Chevy dealership. They said it would possibly open in November of this year, but it's more than likely not going to open until next year, and 2024 orders to be fulfilled quickly. So if you don't have an order when the order bank opens, you're not going to get one. And so we tried to put together a package that we could present now. The only bid that we were able to receive was from Nemaha Valley Motors in Seneca, which is a 2024 Dodge Durango in the amount of $41,310. I did meet with Cindy and asked her to contact our financial auditor to make sure this was a process that was approved, and she did that, and it can be pre-ordered now. That's perfectly lawful, and so that's what we're here to do versus waiting until January and then waiting another 120 to 150 days to get it. We'd like to do that pre-order now so that we can actually take possession of it in January.
I'll explain the process, what we're going through. This is going to encumber money from 2023, but the money we're encumbering is the municipal equipment reserve, non-budgeted fund. It's not going to affect the general fund. So the idea is you purchase it, encumbering that fund, that money from there. You pay for it when it comes in next year out of that fund, and you use the general fund to reimburse. Or wherever that, so wherever you're getting a vehicle from, if you're doing it for next year, we can just transfer that money to reimburse the equipment reserve to make sure that it is being paid for where it's initially budgeted for.
We will pay for this next year then?
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, we're not expecting the vehicles to come in until next year. When the vehicles come in, we'll pay for them. It'll come out of equipment reserve, and then we'll reimburse.
Put the money back.
Put the money back.
Well, yeah, I've seen that, but what, for some reason, we get it 15th of December.
So they guaranteed that they would hold it at their lot and not make the sale until January 1st.
That actually doesn't matter. Because you're paying with it, we're paying with it, paying for it out of the equipment reserve regardless. And so that money's gonna go out. You can transfer the money from the general fund January, well, when we get the transfer from the county, and just reimburse it that way.
Okay.
So there is two safe falls, I guess. They also agreed to say if it's easier for the city, we'll hold it on our lot till January 1st.
It does not matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions I can answer on the Durango? So I would make a request for $41,310 for a 2024 Dodge Durango to Nemaha Valley Motors.
Would approve chief's request.
Second. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7-0.
Thank you. The last request we have is the same, I'm sorry?
After the first of the year, we'll hit the other 11.5.
Yeah, I can bring that up now if you like.
No, it'd be better if you did that next year.
Okay, we'll wait.
So, I thought it was gonna be better, but yeah, yep, so, absolutely.
One of those books says, wait.
I try to listen. For the same exact explanation, we were here to request, approval purchase for a 2024 Ranger Crew XP, from Polaris directly. We tried to bid these out semi-locally and see, but nobody does upfitting. And so by the time we bought from local, they shipped it here, then we'd have to trailer it to Manhattan or Salina, incur the cost of retaking apart the UTV, putting in our lights, putting in all those things, and it was cost prohibitive to really bid locally when we can buy it directly from Polaris. And so that comes fully set up. I put every single piece in there that we've asked for. It does come in at the same budget that we put into next year's budget item. We put our lighting requirements in there, and so the only thing we would have to do is put in a radio, and it's road ready. So, very nice UTV. Will do anything and everything that we need it to do, on-road, off-road, parades, respond to missing children, et cetera, et cetera.
It'll have the pigtail in it for the radio, so it's just
It's just literally plugging in a radio and mounting it up. Yeah, it comes pre-wired.
Can't believe it's 248 wait period on it.
Yeah, 240-day wait period.
I can. We're still waiting on a street sweeper that's supposed to be here in.
And it costs more than a Durango.
It's always like,
Shipping on
and it costs
Friday.
more than a Durango, that's what drives.
Shipping on Friday.
This is a cheap one. Yeah, this is a cheap one.
Wonder what their margins are.
Some of these get up in the 60s.
Oh, yeah, you get a razor. Oh, boy. All of it.
Okay, so want to make a motion?
We're doing this one the same way we're doing the cop car.
Same
right?
way.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I don't think you want that responsibility.
No, I don't.
I'll make a motion to approve the $44,734.78 for the Polaris for the, police department.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0?
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep, thanks,
you,
Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
All right, the only other thing on this list, we're planning an employee picnic, September 23rd. We were trying for some other dates, but this seemed to match up, with food. And like the idea of having it out in City Park. We do plan on bringing back a, request for BYOB in the park for that day. But this is just so you guys can put it on your calendar to come out, 4 o'clock, September 23rd, to support employees of the city.
Those of you that didn't come last year, you need to come this year.
It was fun. It was good food. It was a nice day too. The
Nice
weather was
night.
beautiful.
It was beautiful out,
Fun to
yes.
watch everybody's
Saturday.
kiddos.
Yeah, all the kids were running around,
Yep.
yeah.
It was a good time.
What time is it?
4 o'clock.
They had door prizes.
All the stuff we get from Quill that I.
We'll see.
Hey, don't downplay it, come on. Yeah, we didn't pay for any of them, they come free.
I didn't win to almost the very last thing. But it was good food,
Good time.
yeah. BYOB, bring your own.
Beverage.
Saturdays aren't really
Beverage.
ideal for me, so.
Yeah.
Your own cooler or whatever you want.
Look forward to seeing you all out there.
Right, move on to standing committee reports. Anybody have anything on street?
Yeah,
Yes.
always, of course,
I
I
know.
know.
What do you got?
11th Road, what's progress on that? Have we heard anything from Cohorst? Is it done? Is it
It's not done.
engineered?
It's not engineered yet. And I honestly, I'm still working on and about to team up with some other staff to get the approvals on the, construction easements. There are some that, well, for instance, the senior housing, I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, but they're not here. I'm conversating with them back and forth online. I was expecting it today, to get done, but she's busy. That's where that's at. But we're working on that portion of it. We do not have engineered plans yet.
That's crazy. It was engineered once, I thought.
What we had was a master plan,
It
and,
wasn't engineering to go out and finish it.
they had some survey results and some mock drawings, of previous times.
Well, I guess while I'm at it, I'm gonna kick 12th Road in. Have we done anything on it? Or
I
have
saw-
they done anything?
I
on
saw
it?
I gotta check the notes on who called in the locates out there, but,
You know, 11th Road was gonna be this year, 12th Road was gonna be next year, and,
yes.
It's September almost.
Right.
yeah. Before we know it, we're
Yeah,
not gonna get a
11th
road
Road's not
board
getting
this
done
year.
this year. Yeah, it's not getting done. It's too late.
Yeah,
It is.
I don't have any excuses
Okay.
to give you.
Well, while we're in the neighborhood, I know we've replaced some sections out on Ashbury Lane. I had a couple people call me about concerns. I mean, we all know that those streets out there are problematic. They said they were getting worse. They are not wrong. There's, I'd say, a good 6 or 7 that are worse than the others, to the point where I'd be apprehensive about riding a bicycle on it. And I know there's kids out there. I don't know if we haven't replaced one maybe in a couple years. We just kind of do it on an ad hoc basis, or do we have like well, let's go do this many
Hometown
this year?
Drive out there, the U, that's been a few years back.
Yeah,
but I
we
don't
did
know
the
if
whole section of that.
We did that
Yeah,
whole
but I
thing, yeah.
Have we really placed, I mean,
Yeah,
other than a
we've
few
done several.
potholes?
The
Spots out there.
intersections, there's a couple spots that
Yeah.
are,
It's
yeah.
just hard to know.
I know the issue
what
that
road to fix
the issue
first.
we've had is you back up a cement truck to fix a hole and you make
Not
new
getting another
holes.
hole. I know, well,
That's what I've heard anyway.
some of the worst
It's
is
not
south
good.
off of that intersection where we've already replaced it, so we could back up over the new concrete and feel assured. But seriously, there are some sections there that are, I don't know what's underneath it, but it doesn't look like much. It's
Nothing.
really
Get over by
sinking.
John's house,
Oh, yeah.
they're worse over there than they are in the Timber Creek.
Right, well, that's
Mine just
obviously
get torn up
important
by
too,
trash
but
trucks.
generally, yeah. There's a lot of
Torn
kids.
up by trash trucks.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, there's been some new construction out there, and there's quite a few kids in that neighborhood, so, I mean, not that it's good for adults, I don't like riding dangerous streets either, but more concerned about the kids.
I'll talk with Gary about, a timeline. Right now our priorities they're gonna do chip and seal starting tomorrow.
That was my next question.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
they've been putting out
they
notices.
ordered oil, it's coming in tomorrow, so.
Well, in the same way, I think, us doing 11th Road, like making progress, actual measurable progress, if we could even do that on Ashbury, I don't think replacing the whole thing is gonna be in the cards, but
See if we can
do some of
do
the
a
worst
section.
sections and kind of work through it,
Yeah,
then we'll know it's done.
okay.
Yeah.
Up on Airport Road. Yes. Can someone take a look and figure out what happened if the big chunk of concrete's missing?
Where's it missing at?
We turn off there off 16th and you'll go up there and be what I would call the, south side of the road. All of a sudden, there's just like maybe 2-3 foot long, and it's like a big V, and it's gone.
Does it look like a trailer
I
leg caught it, or
have
what?
No clue. It's no clue. I don't know if it's that or if like a ripper on something but it's
Something sturdy.
it's wow. You had to feel it, let's put it that way.
So the chunk is gone,
I didn't even see the chunk.
so
Somebody knew it was
somebody
there.
knew if they removed the chunk.
So, yeah.
Okay,
Well, I know that, and that catch basin on that same street needs to be put on the list to be fixed.
Airport
That's
Road.
that one that's collapsing down on itself.
They did fix the catch basin up here at 10th and Center, and it looks really good.
looks
They-
really
they-
temporary too.
Well, but it looks really good.
Good.
And nobody's gonna fall into it.
Well, yes,
This
and
year.
that was the idea. That one, and I will let you know, it does need a little more work because it's the brick stop that's breaking in on it. So we have to move the brick stop up north.
I think there's a couple of those brick stops that might need addressed next time, we go through all that.
So they did go and do a temporary fix. There is gonna be
Better
need
than
more
nothing.
work, yes.
I did get some positive feedback on Jayhawk Road.
Okay.
With the dust control. Sounds like that's working out really well. And what we tried, so.
See if it lasts the winter or how we can grade that road.
A few of them that wish we'd continue on this year with it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
until we see how the winter hits it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
see how the
Right.
results.
I
There-
think
there's
you're
a
headed
sen-
for a problem.
There's a sentiment that, chunks are gonna come off of that.
Yeah, I think you're headed for a problem.
But we said we'd try it, and I think a trial run is worth the
Time
time.
will tell.
Yeah.
Anything else on the street? No? Water, wastewater?
How are we coming on the drain in front of Nordis's?
I don't have an answer.
No engineering.
Yeah, we're
What about the ones on South Sixth Street?
on South.
Two catch
We're
basins.
waiting for the loader to be shipped, or the loader, right, or the which one is it?
Backhoe.
Backhoe, sorry, I mix them up. The backhoe to come back for the street department to work on that one.
Okay. I'd like to see it done before winter.
Right.
We've set there 2 winters now.
Okay, anything else on water, wastewater?
How we doing on the lagoons? We heard anything back from anybody?
Well, we don't have anything on the second portion. We have been approved to move forward with the contractor for the first portion, so setting a date for pre-construction and construction, that's coming up. Pre-construction meeting, not pre-bid, don't be
right, we already did
rewinding
it,
the
yeah.
clock.
Do we ever get any measurements on the wells either?
They were supposed to come today to do that,
Okay.
yes. Oh, and while if anybody has any questions, if, they're gonna drain the towers, the other tower that they haven't done yet, 17th. What's that, starting tomorrow?
Yep.
Starting tomorrow, in preparation for the inspection, while we're on water and wastewater.
So that they wanted people to realize that the water might vary. You're never gonna not have water, but the pressure might get funny, so the public knows.
You're telling me I'm gonna have water leak calls tomorrow?
Well, you shouldn't have leaks, but they just said it might vary, so when all of a sudden you don't have as much pressure as you used to have.
Well, last time that they did that, the pressure was higher. if I
Okay.
remember right. I mean, at least down in this end of town, I know it was.
Okay.
I'm glad I don't live there at the motel anymore.
So does it help to leave your sink just dripping a little bit when it has extra pressure?
It was known to blow a water softener too.
Water heaters, and take out the weak ones. Do that too.
Natural
So it's good for business.
Natural selection, look at that for water
Take out
heaters.
the weak ones.
I happened to be filling my washer when they drained it years ago. And at that time, we had a party line and we went direct to the pit underneath the water tower. And guess what I got in my washer? A load of rust water. That's not good on white sheets.
No. I mean terracotta sheets.
Yeah. They were.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on water, wastewater? Parks and Rec? Cemetery and Airport? Police and Fire? Admin and Finance? Probably just mention it because since we had some discussion about it tonight, but we're talking about having some discussions about the Kester block and the rent before next year happened, and we're getting later in the year. We probably ought to think about having some discussions if we're gonna do something.
Special meeting, you want
Well, what do you guys want? You want a
committee
special
meeting, how we do,
admin and finance, or you want an ad hoc, or what are you
or just,
thinking?
If you start, I mean, I don't know if you wanna include the Kester block
Yeah, I think we need
people
to.
up
Probably
front.
should, yeah.
So, I mean, admin finance with the Kester block.
Well, by now, everybody has all their new tax statements for what they did.
Let's meet with admin and finance first, and then maybe a half an hour before, and then call them in later.
Yeah, I'm fine with
And
that.
so we can do a maybe,
Okay,
you know.
so we'll have a
talk-
meeting first, and then we'll have a meeting with them.
Yeah.
Okay, that works.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
okay.
Okay, so we'll try and line up one before the next council meeting.
A day and time.
Okay.
Sunday? We'll squeeze it in.
Oh, not
No
Sunday.
way.
Keeps having these
That is
Sunday meetings.
literally the only
Yeah, well,
day at this
I've
point in my
done-
life that I have time for anything. I'm just throwing, any Sunday, pick one, I don't care when it is,
Well,
but that
how
is
about-
literally the only day. Unless you wanna do it from 2 to 4 when I have a 2-hour break on that day, so, that's an option also.
About like 3 a.m. Can you do like
Yeah,
3
I
a.m.?
could do 3
Not
a.m.
this Sunday.
yeah, cause it's
Well, not
Labor Day,
this Sunday.
Yeah.
That's Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
so it won't be before the next meeting.
Okay.
Tell you, it probably won't.
Well, you
We'll
could
see what
do
we
it
can do.
Sunday
Unless
before
it's
the next
Sunday
meeting.
before the next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is,
We'll work on, gotta
Yeah,
work on it.
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Which is when I'm in Hiawatha at my brother-in-law is being installed as a pastor over there, so.
Okay. We'll,
Maybe that night.
We'll work on it, yeah. Start calling, yeah. Cause you don't know what the Kester block has
Well,
available.
and that's that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause the next Sunday's not good for me, the 10th.
Let's find out
Yeah.
what we can get for general
Yeah.
consensus of date first.
Okay.
Call them, ask them a little bit, and
Okay. All right.
Well, but you're wanting a meeting first without them, right? Is that what you said?
Well, I'll lead up earlier in the evening.
Oh, so you just want a meeting, okay,
Right.
and then with them later, gotcha.
And you wanna know what the fund balance is when I come?
Yep.
Yes.
verbally.
Do we have the new amounts of what the property taxes are gonna be yet? We got the appraisals, but
We got the appraisal on, have that. Well, it should be on there if I look.
we just know it's gonna be more than last
Right.
year, definitely.
Right. And,
By how
and if that
much?
goes up, then the insurance probably will as well in
Well,
April.
it took a big jump last year, so.
Yeah, so maybe it won't.
A lot and a little.
Okay. All right, anybody else have anything on admin and finance? We do have a couple appointments.
Do you wanna do these now, or did you wanna find out what Sharon was talking about?
Well, we can go ahead and approve these and then we'll look into.
These ones we vetted.
I mean, these.
I just want, yeah.
These are new ones that they're adding on there, so.
Move to approve the mayor's appointments.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And then you're gonna check on them other ones that she
I
talked
will.
about. Okay.
Most committees have a limit on the terms you can, and then you have to sit off.
You have to sit
and
off
come
for a
back
while,
on.
because we've had to
I
do that
don't
before the
know if the
planning
Kester
commission.
block
and-
does. I think that's the thing. It must not have if she's ran it, been on and on and on and on.
Okay.
So that's the difference. Every other committee we have has a limit. that
Yeah,
you
because
have to at
we've
least
had that
sit
before,
off.
we had somebody sit out for a couple of years, and then sometimes
get
they,
back on.
that want to get back on, sometimes after being off for 2 years, they're like, no.
So that's the
But yeah,
kicker
that
there.
happens.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right, we probably need to have an executive session. Somebody had the form.
Do you got both of them though? Do you have employee and,
And
I want
attorney
legal,
client?
yes, yeah.
Okay, well, you want to read the employee? You
Are
wanna
we gonna
read
do the employee first or the legal?
Well, all together, just all together,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, so you have.
because I do know that my session, I'd like to have the city council and mayor.
Okay.
So if we need the city administrator for the legal,
Oh, so you want to have one with
yeah,
the.
yep, I'd like to have a separate
One
one.
without,
Okay.
then you want the attorney there
Yep,
too, I'm
yep.
assuming.
Yeah.
He has to be there.
Better.
Okay. All right.
Let's do the first two.
Okay, so what are you gonna read? Tell me.
Should I do the first one? Okay. I move that the city council recess into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. Discussion on specific personnel matters, not general personal policies, exception KSA 754319B1. The session will include the mayor, city council, city administrator, and city attorney.
And I want the legal, if we're going with the
Yeah.
one I want.
Yeah, that's why I had city attorney.
No,
Yeah, but
no,
we
no,
gotta
no,
also
you need
read
the
the
other
statute for
Can
the,
you
yeah,
give
we're gonna
him,
read that one
it should
too.
have been, it should have all just been done at once. Yeah, just,
Send that over.
yeah,
And how long?
just include
You'll get it
the,
in a minute.
yeah.
Because they're really flirting with the issue. It's a whole lot cleaner if you go in and talk about one thing for
And
X
come
amount of
back.
time, and then come back. Because we have no way of knowing how long you talked about what.
That's true. Can you talk about this, John?
My gut reaction is, the issues are gonna be interrelated, and so one session covering both topics is, I think, acceptable. I mean, I don't have a AG opinion in front of me to tell you, but
Right.
you've gone through the procedure and advised them time in, time out, and the subject matter is, can be closed, so.
Right.
So it's the same issue?
There,
They overlap, I mean,
Well,
basically.
non-elected personnel
Mhm.
or both?
So, do you want me to read the second one?
If you want, do what we have, we can check into it, but you've already read the first one, need 5 minutes, that's it.
And the meeting will resume in the city council chamber at
8:50.
8:50?
Called at 8:44. Okay.
Second.
Okay, yeah.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, so now I got 8-0. Yes,
Welcome.
because Keith is here.
Keith, couldn't believe you made it.
Yeah, you're 10 minutes later, and I figured.
Should have drove faster.
Go for it.
Right. Call this meeting back to order. No binding decisions were made. Continue on with the regular meeting.
I'd like to make a motion that the city council recess into executive session for consultation with attorney on matters deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship about litigation or claims against the city to KSA 754319B2. The meeting will include the mayor, city council, city administrator, and city attorney.
City administrator this time?
Yeah, that's the legal one that I asked for.
Legal, yeah. The meeting will resume in the city council's chambers at
Give it till 9 o'clock.
9 p.m.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. 8-0. There you go. Go for it. All right, calls meeting back in order. No binding decisions were made, continuing on with the regular meeting. You want another executive session, Jeff?
You want to do that?
I'd do the executive session first.
Okay. Well, I move the city council recess an executive session to discuss personal matters of non-elected personnel, discussion on specific personnel matters, not general personal policies, exception KSA 754319B1. This section will include the mayor, city council members, and city attorney. The open meeting will resume at the city council chambers at, can we do 9:10?
Works.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 8-0.
All right.
Mike's back up.
All right, call this meeting back to order. No binding decisions were made. Continue with the regular meeting. No. I don't know. Do we need to go back to an executive session for anything, or are we good?
I'm good.
Good?
I'm good.
Good.
Before you leave, I would like you to sign the budget before you all leave.
All of us?
Yep.
Hand it here.
Just start down there.
Start it here.
Need a pen?
I mean, I guess if you don't want to, you don't have to, but I gotta have at least 3.
Yeah.
Usually
at least
they
3.
all sign.
Yep.
We'll pass it around real quick.
Hold on. Hold on.
Just sign the paper first.
Guess my mic is on, sorry.
You sign it.
Is there a special spot
Anywhere,
for me, or-
anywhere. You don't, do you think you're special?
Oh, usually there is.
Thank you. Oh, that's all yours, okay. You want, okay. All right. I have an announcement. It is with great, not regret, but I am turning in my resignation to the city of Marysville, and my last day will be October 6th. It has been a great 7 years of working for and with the city of Marysville. I've had some downtimes, but I've had many great times that outrank the downtimes. My family and I love this community. It was the hardest decision to even think about leaving Marysville. It's the only place that my kids know that home is. And thinking back on my life, I remember being moved at an early age. It wasn't easy. So this was a tough decision for me and my family to make. But there were a lot of signs that pointed in this direction. And all I can say is it seemed the right time to make a move. And it brings a little bit of sadness to me and my family. But we are trying to make ourselves better. We're moving closer to family. And I'm looking forward to new challenges that await to better myself, to expand on my horizons, to expand on my kids' horizons. And that's not degrading against the city of Marysville or Marysville, the community. That's just a fact of life. So it's been an honor to be here, that you've allowed me to be here, because it's a two-way street. We chose each other from the very beginning, and it's been great. I leave Marysville in a good place. I feel I can see the improvements that I didn't do by myself. I did as a team, with staff, with council. And we, as a team, moved Marysville in a good direction. I mean, not everybody sees the same thing, but I can say I've helped with improvements. Staff has been supportive, council has been supportive, and we've been able to get a lot of things done. And I can say I left the city of Marysville in a better place than I found it, and that also is not talking about anybody in the past. That's the nature of the job, that we continue. The previous administration made improvements. I continued on helping with those improvements. So, yes, it is sad, but we are looking forward to our future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guess we'll move on round table. Todd?
Do we need a motion to accept the resignation?
Then my contract stipulates that if I submit it in writing, 30 days in advance, that's how it works. I don't mind if you vote on it, but it's not going to change anything.
I think we're okay.
Kansas Tourism was in town today to give the Convention and Tourism their grant check, and so I think most people are aware they got the $10,000 Kansas Tourism grant. It's going to help them with their website development, and they had a good turnout for the check presentation. I follow the Kansas Tourism, get all their newsletters and emails and things, and based on the other pictures from other sites they were at today, I'd say we had the most enthusiastic response. A lot of people there, which was great. The other thing I had, I should have asked while Chief was here, but have we resolved the trash burning problem down on the west side of town? I asked this. I rolled into town close to midnight last night over the viaduct, and I could smell trash burning.
I haven't received a report of them catching it red-handed.
It's been so hot.
Gotcha. But it was definitely, I know the smell. I didn't think it was a house or anything, so. Probably so. That's all I had.
Jeff?
I have nothing.
Lori?
Nothing.
Keith?
I think we still could look at widening 10th and Center out, because what I seen this morning could have been a lot worse traffic jam than what I saw, so.
I would love to see 10th and Center widened out.
I don't think Todd Lando was too happy with his semi when.
Probably not.
Well, he tried making a turn to go right, and school, the kids are parking clear up to the stoplight, and they're not paying attention, so let's just keep thinking about widening that out.
It needs widened out, and I've mentioned it several times. Council wants to act, it can happen, it needs done. It'd be a great improvement for Marysville, I think, for long term, but.
That whole line of cars just had to back up.
Yep. Should have built a truck bypass years ago, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, that was an option.
I know it was discussed a long time ago.
Well, and what he's talking about is unfortunate, but I'm gonna go to the flip side of that about somebody that can't follow a stop sign. I missed him, but I also tried to hit him. Two of the side dumpers ran the stop sign right behind Casey's and pulled their 18-wheelers right out in the middle of the intersection.
I've seen him do it. Oh, yeah.
That's getting pretty old also. They're not stopping there at all. They don't care.
I know it's tough to get in and out, but law is the law.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel for you also, Keith. I just don't know which direction's the right direction.
Plus, it's a big blind corner.
Yep.
It is.
Two major highways, and wasn't there a detour there today too yet?
Yes.
Highway 9's
Yeah.
detoured around.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Right. Kyle?
Nothing tonight.
I got nothing.
Colleen?
I spoke mine already.
All I've got, I'd just like to thank you, Austin, for all the years that you've put in, and, I think you gotta do what's best for your family. I think sometimes this community didn't maybe appreciate what you were doing as much as they should have, or treat you as well as you should have treated when they didn't know everything that was going on. And I'd just like to thank you for all the years that you put in, and I've enjoyed all my time serving with you on council, so.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason.
So, that's all I had.
All
right.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?